I think one of the most important parts of camper enrollment is to really hyper focus on getting kids to come back to camp. When I talk to families, it's all about trust and safety. And for them to go back to a program that they know and love is far easier than to get them to sign up for a new program. While we are attracted to new things, it takes a lot of trust with someone that's taking care of your child. It's as simple as that. And so I often find when I'm working with camps that we are not doing enough to get kids to come back to camp. And when we talk about this topic, it really is about the messaging. You need to convey trust to the families, and you need to convey fun to the campers. I am actually finding upwards of 75 to 80% of the decisions being made around camp are not just the parent, they're actually both the parent and the kid together, if not more the kid. So understanding that trust plays a major factor and fun plays a major factor, and I just can't reiterate that enough. When we talk about camp retention, your goal should be to get to 65%. That is considered good retention for our industry. 50 is kind of the bare minimum I would expect. Anything below 50, I would really look at your program quality. And then I've seen some camps get to north of 80. So when we talk about retention, getting kids to come back to your camp, day camp or overnight camp, it is very easy in terms of like straightforwardness. And I'll give you two anecdotes in a few seconds. But it also is something that just needs to be a core part of your effort. The goal is that your camper retention actually matches your staff retention. And I find that campers will come back for the staff year after year. That's part of this as well too. And then just having a clear pipeline from campers to become staff, meaning a training program like a CIT program, that really makes all the difference when we start breaking out the mechanics of retention. Just two brief anecdotes for you. So the first one is about farm camp. I had the privilege of overseeing one camp and then being getting promoted to overseeing a bunch of camps. I oversaw 8 camps. And so I was overseeing these camps, and I looked at our farm camp. And when I looked at farm camp, I looked at camper retention. I found their camper retention was 85%. Meanwhile, the rest of the camp was 65%. So I went to Jenny, who was the farm camp director at the time, and I said, Jenny, what are you doing that's so different? And Jenny wasn't like a marketing master or a salesperson by trade. She was really a librarian, and she was just very sincere in how she answered me. She said, all I do is I place a few phone calls, about 10 phone calls a morning, and just call the parents once a month and just give them an update on the farm. That's it. I just call them and just say, hey, just want to let you know what's going on at the farm. We're getting ready for summer, and we just bought some chickens and goats, and and we're doing really well. That's all I do. She told me that 9 times out of 10, she actually gets a voicemail. So when we talk about this, it's not even that it takes her a large amount of time to do that every morning. It's more that she's making this sincere effort to reach out to people, and families respond to that. So when I look at camper retention, it's fine putting dates in front of people and pricing, but are we really making a sincere effort to get to know families and to be part of their lives? And I would argue that we could always improve on this. And the same thing goes for when I talk to other camps. I talked to Gary at Nakamixon. Gary tells me he has close to 90% retention rate. And when I talk to him, I go, what are you doing? And we talked for nearly 20 minutes when I asked him this question. And he had even trouble articulating it. And he simply just said, we treat him like family. We just keep him in the loop. We just talk to him a lot. So when we talk about this topic, it's not entirely complicated. It is fairly easy in terms of what needs to get done, but it is tedious and it does take time. So just understanding that this is all about relationships, and that if the more you focus on getting kids to come back to camp, the more likely you are to fill your camp.